The reality is, when you're in a bad stretch of hockey, you look to your best players to get you out of it. And the Avs are very lucky to have their best players consistently get them out of it. Avs win 5-2 over the Washington Capitals. After a handful of games that did not really feel like Avalanche hockey, or at least this year's version of Avalanche hockey, this one got back to where you feel comfortable with what the Avs were doing. And I say that even over their couple of wins over this bad stretch, because those wins, frankly, were blowouts. It's hard to feel anything other than one team just getting dominated in those types of games. This was a legitimate good game against a pretty good Washington team, and the Avs played their game the way they wanted to and took care of business. Maybe one of the most crucial factors in that is scoring first, and the Avs are able to do that. Parker Kelly gaining the zone here. The Avs bottom six was a bit jumbled up at times during this game, so the lines are a little bit in flux, but just by gaining the zone, he forces enough space to get Cale Makar the puck, and then Cale Makar just goes to work. This is a guy who can put defenses into a bad spot simply with his skating ability. Look at how much space he's created in the middle of the ice by skating off of the center and then cooking a guy. The Avs put two guys in the middle off of that, and Cale Makar has a clean shooting lane to set up for a tip play, and that's exactly what occurs, and it's a great tip from Kelly. I don't want to take away from the Avs' depth forwards. It's a great goal from Parker Kelly. The depth forwards would score an even more important goal later in this game. But like I said off the top, you're looking at your stars. And that was a goal set up by Cale Makar. And all night long, Cale Makar looked great. He didn't get rewarded on the box score, maybe the way he deserved, but played fantastic hockey all night. Looked like the Cale we all know and love, the version of Cale that the Avs need. He's got to be special for them. And when he plays like this, it feels really good. Despite scoring first, the first period was probably the worst period of the game for the Avs. Not that they were bad, but it was just the worst of the three. And part of that comes with the fact that the Avs took 3 penalties in the period. Now, you could argue the Avs do need to clean up some discipline, and I think that's a fair shout to some extent. But when you look at the way the penalties were called, if you actually watch this game, this was horrific refereeing, top to bottom, in this game for both teams. So I'm not going to punish the Avs too much for a lack of discipline here and kind of just throw out all the penalties in this game. Certainly the one that leads to Washington's goal is straight up made up. As Wedgwood drops his stick, it goes behind his net, and a stick that no Avalanche player is touching gets stepped on, and they call it a trip. So that's something. Here's the power play goal. Not a ton to this play from Washington. It's a nice zone entry from them, which gets them the immediate setup. Maybe the Avs sag off a hair deeper than you would like here, but this is not bad defense on a penalty kill. You're forcing a shot from outside. Now, the Avs don't get aggressive here, which fair enough. If you want to see them get on that puck, I understand. But you reasonably accept shots from outside on your penalty kill. Unfortunately, with the screen in front, Wedgie never sees it, and it's in the back of the net. It's a good screen in front. Wedgie doesn't see it. We move on with our lives. It's 1-1 after the first. Maybe not the best hockey that we've seen the Avs play this year. Just fine. And then you get the second and third periods. This is where the Avs truly take over, truly look great, and pretty much do whatever they want. You see the best team in the league come out to play. The power plays start coming back the other way. The Avs get a double minor. They're not able to score on the first of those 2 power plays, but when the chips are down, MacKinnon says, "I got this, boys." Avs breaking out on the second half of the double minor. MacKinnon gets it up quick for Necas to do the drop pass. This is a questionable drop pass. You have a Washington player sagging off playing for it, and Marty only barely slips it by him. But because that works and MacKinnon's able to collect it with speed and get around the front guy, all of a sudden Washington's defense has to sag massively off of this blue line, creating space for Nathan MacKinnon. And when you give him space and he decides to use it for himself and shoot, yeah, he's the best goal scorer in the NHL right now. But they're just such good players that they don't have to do all the fancy stuff they do at times. They can, because they're that talented. But sometimes you simplify, you make the simple play, and you make the simple play better than everyone else. That's why you're one of the best players in the world. Nathan MacKinnon gets the Avs back in the driver's seat. The Avs get a power play goal. I know they end up 1 for 6 on the night in the box score. Again, don't read too much into that. There was a lot of silliness with the penalty calls. From that goal onward, the Avs just start pounding Washington basically in every facet of the game. And that eventually results with the Avs breaking through with yet another goal coming off a face-off. It's a clean face-off win for Brock Nelson. You get it back to the point. Manson just gets into space and lets it go and creates a rebound. And you see, you already had one guy completely crashing the net, but both other Avs forwards driving to the dangerous areas. It's Olofsson who the rebound comes out to, and with his finishing ability, you need to see him finish those, and he does. Do normal teams score goals like this all the time, every year? Is this what the Avs have been missing because they've been the worst team in the league in faceoffs for a decade? Because it's nice. That ends up being your game-winning goal that comes from your second line, and it's a hodgepodge second line because of the injuries you dealt with. By the way, Val Nichushkin got in a car accident on the way to this game, so couldn't play in it. Thankfully, it sounds like he's fine, but that's just the Avs' injury luck lately. And so you see how when your stars step up, everybody gets in line and follows suit for the Avalanche. And it's a good thing they got that goal too, because they give it back pretty much immediately. Nelson going back and collecting a puck in his own zone. Washington putting on a pretty aggressive forecheck here as he rims it, and Colton is just a little bit discombobulated. It's not that much pressure. You shouldn't lose the puck that badly. Desperation tries to poke it back to Brock, and you put yourself in this weird puck battle situation that the Avs ultimately lose. The problem here, if you go back a couple of seconds, while this puck is coming down the wall, you can barely see him in frame. This is Brent Burns going in behind. He's trying to be here ready for a pass from Brock Nelson. In this exact moment, I don't hate this. You should be okay. Nelson taking a man here, Colton taking a man here, Manson taking Ovi in front of the net. But as soon as this becomes a tie-up, now you have to recognize you don't know if this puck is getting to you or not if you're Brent Burns. You need to back off and get back to the central part of the ice. Again, man. There's a fourth man coming in, and you don't want to give up this dangerous area of the ice if you do not win this puck battle, which ultimately they don't. Manson commits to the puck carrier, fine. You have okay marking here, except for Brent Burns has stalled behind his net, and there is no one here. That's bad. So when Ovi makes a nice move and is strong on the puck to beat Josh Manson, Burns is now in no man's land, and you've left a guy wide open in front of your net. Bad puck work from your second line in their own zone there for sure, but Brent Burns is genuinely doing nothing, covering nothing, just not doing anything effective. You need better defense from your defenders there too. So the Avs have the lead after the second period, even if it's not the 2-goal lead you would have liked. Guess what? The Avs have still never lost when leading at the start of the third period this year. Keep in mind, for the first 12 and a half minutes of this period, this is a 1-goal game. While the Avs do get the insurance goals and it gets not close late, the Avs outshot Washington in the third period 17-3. This year's Avs team truly has an unnatural gift in protecting leads in third periods. I don't know what it is, but they just dominate teams. And even with a shot total like that, it still gets made hard for the Avs in the third period because the NHL rules are stupid. A great play from MacKinnon sets up Cale Makar for a goal. It gets challenged and called back for goalie interference, which I just can't with goalie interference anymore. I clearly don't know what it is, and I will never know what it is, and I'm convinced that the players don't know, the coaches don't know, the NHL doesn't know, the refs certainly don't know, and the guys who make the decisions in Toronto about challenges don't know. So nobody truly knows what goalie interference is. What I do know is that is blatant embellishment from Lindgren. Throwing your stick, throwing both your gloves off cannot be allowed. You can't let a guy get away with that on a goalie interference call. Clear embellishment to me. If you want to at least help fix the rule a little bit, clearly the NHL doesn't care that we don't know what goalie interference is, but plays like that need to be reviewed, and it needs to be made clear that goalies can't do that because that's utter nonsense. A weaker team, or even the Avs a handful of days ago, probably get down on themselves and maybe struggle through the rest of the third period when that goal gets called back. But the version of the Avs who are focused, angry because of their losses and now that call, lock in, and Nathan MacKinnon says, I set up one great goal, it didn't count, I'll just do it again. A bit of a fast and loose puck through the neutral zone that ultimately gets just enough done by Natchez. Nathan MacKinnon, now upset about things, jumps on this puck, takes it away, and says, I'm better than you guys. Goes from the opposite side of the ice in the Cale goal, but finds Lecky beautifully, and Lecky finishes. That's what superstar stuff is to me. Also nice of Arturi Lehkonen to finally finish a goal. That also helps. That more or less sealed the game, but why not drop a milestone on this nonsense of a hockey game? A bit later, Nathan MacKinnon scores again. Just a reminder that the Avs top line can cook Washington at any time. It's a bit of a forecheck from Necas here. Not all that aggressive, but still manages to force an error with the forecheck, gets his stick on a puck, takes a fortunate bounce to come out the right side for Necas, and MacKinnon steps into the open space while it's happening. A nice little setup, and MacKinnon gets to bang one home. Point number 1100 of Nathan MacKinnon's career. How about that? MacKinnon has had the Avalanche total points record for a while now, but when you expand into the franchise, including Quebec, obviously Joe Sakic is way up there. At 1,100 points, Nathan MacKinnon is 541 points away from catching Joe Sakic, which feels like a ton. It is a ton. But that number was supposed to be untouchable. And the fact that we're talking about Nathan MacKinnon and then he might have a chance of reaching that in his career, now things have to go well. He has to continue competing at an extremely high level in the immediate next couple of years, and then he needs to have the career longevity. But he could do it. We could genuinely be watching the greatest scorer in this franchise's history, not just the Avalanche. Those are the type of special players that get you to not just one Stanley Cup, but a second one. A long way to go to get to that, though. Nice to just celebrate a good quality win from the Avalanche after a couple of tough games. For a season that's been so successful, it's nice to have those reminders. When the Avs do have a stretch of struggling, they're still a really good team. They can still come out and play a game like this, and everything's going to be just fine. That is the end of this game video review. Thank you for watching. I am Rudo, and seriously though, watching MacKinnon and Makar might be the two greatest players in the history of this franchise.